The story begins with a girl named Megan, trembling with fear as she looks ahead. There she sees a woman clawing at something like a madwoman. When Megan looks closely, she realizes that in the woman's lap is her little child, whom she is savagely devouring. Before Megan can fully grasp this horrifying scene, the woman suddenly lifts her head and glares at her. Her face is so terrifying that Megan screams and runs toward the door. But just then, Mr. Gamble mercilessly slams it shut. In the next moment, Megan's terrified screams echo throughout the house, and a strange mark appears on the door. 5 days later, a woman named Abby is driving her car when suddenly a large wild deer collides with it. Abby decides to take the deer home and butcher it. However, as soon as she cuts into its skin with a knife, her eyes widen in shock. Rotting intestines spill out of the deer's belly, releasing a horrific stench, as if it had died months ago. Disgusted, Abby leaves the deer right there and returns home. But that same night, something strange happens. Ben suddenly wakes up because he hears footsteps on the roof of his house. He grabs a flashlight and looks up, but sees nothing. As he shifts his gaze, he notices a massive hole in the wall of his neighbor's house, as if some enormous creature had smashed through it. Meanwhile, Abby takes her young child for a walk, only to find that all the plants in her garden have withered. Suddenly, her child starts crying uncontrollably, as if sensing something terrifying nearby. A frightened Abby immediately returned home with her child. That night, while everyone was asleep, the baby monitor suddenly showed some movement. Abby's child looked scared, and then a dark shadow appeared next to him. The shadow slowly moved toward the child, extending its long, sharp claws toward him. Abby heard strange noises and rushed to her child's room. But when she pulled off the blanket, instead of her child, there was a pile of dried twigs. Abby was horrified, but before she could react, an unseen force dragged her under the bed. After that night, Abby's behavior completely changed. She no longer seemed human. Her body moved in a strange, unsettling manner, and she reeked of rotting flesh. Abby's eldest son, Dylan, noticed his mother's eerie behavior and one day secretly followed her into the forest. What he saw there was beyond his imagination. After that terrifying night, Dylan became too scared to stay at home alone. Trembling, he ran to his neighbor Ben's house and begged him not to tell his mother where he was. Ben found it strange but agreed to keep Dylan's secret. However, when Dylan's mother found out, she didn't listen to anyone. She forced her way into Ben's house, demanding to take Dylan back. Just then, Dylan's father, Ty, arrived. The moment Dylan heard his father's voice, he sighed in relief and ran to him as if he had found his last hope. After returning home, Dylan wanted to tell his father about his mother's strange behavior. But as soon as he tried to speak, his mother stood there, staring at him. There was a strange gleam in her eyes that filled Dylan with so much fear that he couldn't gather the courage to say anything. The next day, Ben noticed that Dylan hadn't come to school, which made him worried. So he went to Dylan's house. Dylan's father, Ty, opened the door, but his behavior was strange, almost as if he had turned into someone else. When Ben asked about Dylan, Ty responded, "Dylan? Who's Dylan?" Ben was shocked because he knew that this house had 2 children, yet Ty completely denied this fact. Just as Ben was about to leave, his foot hit a mat near the door, revealing a strange, inverted triangular symbol on the ground. Suspicious, Ben went home and searched for information about the symbol on the internet. What he read sent chills down his spine. The symbol was linked to an ancient, monstrous spirit that was half human and half demon. These ghostly entities lived in forests, possessing beautiful women and preying on their children. They also hypnotized their husbands, making them oblivious to any strange occurrences. Ben realized that Abby had now become one of these monstrous spirits, which explained why Dylan's father had changed. But the most terrifying part was that Dylan and his younger brother had no idea that their own mother was planning to devour them. Ben started keeping a close watch on Abby. He noticed that she frequently went into her basement, always emerging with a heavy bag. One night, while Abby was out, Ben sneaked over and rummaged through the trash bin. What he found made his heart sink. Those bags contained Dylan's and his brother's belongings. Meanwhile, Abby's frequent visits to the basement also started making her husband Ty suspicious. One day he gathered the courage to open the basement door, but just then Abby appeared behind him. She whispered something in his ear, and in the next moment, a strange fear flashed in his eyes. Blood started oozing from his ears, and within just a few seconds, he had completely lost control over his soul. Abby's power was so terrifying that she had taken over her husband's mind. When Abby went to her room to take a shower, she noticed that her skin was peeling off. As soon as she touched her teeth, they started falling out one by one. It was clear that Abby's body wouldn't last much longer. She would have to find a new one soon. Ben realized that time was running out. Taking advantage of Abby's absence, he decided to sneak into the basement. The moment he stepped inside, the sight before him took his breath away. A bizarre and horrifying symbol with goat horns was drawn in front of him, surrounded by tree branches. It seemed like a terrifying, sacrificial ritual had taken place there. Ben immediately took out his phone to call the police. But just then, his eyes landed on a photograph. It was a picture of his girlfriend's family. But something was off. Both his girlfriend and her mother's faces had been marked with crosses, as if someone had deliberately erased them. Suddenly, Ben realized that the demonic spirit was about to make his girlfriend's little sister, Lily, its next victim. He sprinted toward the shore, where he saw that Abby had already taken Lily and disappeared into the forest. Without wasting a second, Ben chased after them. Amid eerie laughter echoing through the trees, he reached a large hollow tree trunk. He tried to rescue the child, but the monstrous spirit was so powerful that it shoved Ben hard, sending him crashing into a rock, knocking him unconscious. When Ben regained consciousness, he was shocked to find that the hollow part of the tree had completely vanished. Feeling defeated, he returned home, only to find the police waiting for him. Someone had accused him of breaking into a house and causing destruction, leading to an order for his arrest. Ben tried to explain to the police that he was chasing a ghostly creature, but no one believed him, not even his father Liam, who declared him insane. Just then, Ben's eyes fell on Sarah. The moment he stared at her, the flowers and plants around her suddenly withered. Seeing this, he realized that the creature had left Abby and now possessed Sarah's body. Without thinking, Ben grabbed a nearby object and threw it at Sarah, causing her to fall to the ground and start crying loudly, as if she were the real victim. Furious, Liam lost his temper and immediately ordered the police to arrest Ben. The police put him in the car and started driving away. However, after some distance, Ben noticed that instead of heading toward the police station, the car was going toward the seashore. Suddenly, 2 officers grabbed him and tried to drown him in the water. Ben struggled, but his strength was no match for theirs. Just then, one of the officers regained control over his own soul, and to break free from the creature's influence, shot himself. Meanwhile, Liam began to have doubts about his son's claims. He went to Abby's basement, and as soon as he stepped inside, he was horrified. Abby and her husband's dead bodies lay there. Abby's body was completely hollow, as if someone had extracted her soul and organs, while her husband's corpse hung from the ceiling. Around them, several dried branches were arranged in a strange pattern, indicating a terrifying ritual. As Liam moved closer to examine them, an invisible force suddenly attacked him from behind. At that moment, a burning red lantern fell to the ground, and fire quickly spread throughout the basement. Fighting against pain and fear, they tried to save themselves and somehow managed to escape. But as soon as they got outside, they saw that his wife, now possessed by the creature, was chasing them. To stop her, he struck with an iron rod lying nearby. But it had no effect on the creature. It kept moving toward him rapidly, its eyes glowing with the same terrifying light that had claimed Abby as its victim earlier. The creature was just about to emerge from the darkness when, at that exact moment, Ben arrived and, without hesitation, fired 2 bullets from his gun. As soon as the bullets hit, the creature collapsed to the ground. Ben quickly lifted his father and tried to escape. But something horrifying happened. Sarah's body began to convulse strangely, and soon the creature started to emerge from within her. Seeing the situation worsen, both Liam and Ben ran as fast as they could. Meanwhile, the fire spread rapidly, consuming the dark magic that had been present there. At that moment, Ben suddenly remembered his little brother, Nathan, who was still inside the house. Rushing to his room, he was shocked to find it empty. Nathan had vanished. Filled with fear and anxiety, Ben quickly grabbed a rope and a bottle of gasoline and ran into the forest. After searching for a long time, he finally found an old cave, completely dark and foul-smelling. As soon as he stepped inside, he felt suffocated, but determined to save Nathan, he pushed forward. The sight inside was terrifying. His brother lay unconscious, tightly bound by tree roots. As Ben moved to rescue him, he heard the sounds of chewing from deeper within the cave. Looking closer, he saw a creature devouring a child. Without wasting a moment, Ben pulled out his gun and took aim. But before he could fire, the creature vanished into the darkness. Now Ben didn't have much time. He entrusted his brother with his girlfriend, who was outside in the real world, and went back inside, hoping to find Lily, his girlfriend's younger sister who had gone missing a few days ago. Fortunately, he found the little girl sitting in a corner of the cave. But as soon as he moved forward to save her, a creature suddenly appeared and began scratching his face with its long, sharp claws. Somehow Ben managed to steady himself, grabbed a sturdy piece of wood from the ground, and forcefully stabbed it into the creature's throat. With great difficulty, he carried the child to the cave's entrance. But just as he was about to step out, the creature grabbed his leg from behind. His girlfriend standing outside tried to pull him out with all her strength, but the creature was incredibly powerful. Just then, Ben's father arrived in a car and turned the vehicle's bright headlights toward the creature. The intense light momentarily blinded it, giving Ben the chance to escape. The three of them somehow managed to flee. They thought it was all over, but the next day Ben's girlfriend brought him a flower. When he examined it closely, he realized it wasn't real but artificial, and its withered leaves seemed to be affected by some strange force. Ben suddenly recalled that this was the same power that caused flowers to wither, meaning the creature was still out there. Meanwhile, his girlfriend was seen taking 3 children on a boat toward the sea, a mysterious smile on her face. And with this, the story ends here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Also, subscribe to this channel for more horror stories like this.